What's up everybody, it's Endymion, and I have finally completed the story for God of War Ragnarok. And I think it perfectly encapsulates everything wrong and boring about the modern AAA gaming industry. But before I begin, if you like the video, consider subscribing and sharing it to give my life meaning, and hit the bell to be notified of future uploads. Don't worry about God of War spoilers or anything either, so sit back, relax, and let's get cynical. God of War Ragnarok was easily one of the most hyped games of recent years. After all, it was the finale to the Norse saga for the series, so when it released and got perfect scores everywhere, fans were hyped. And now, after around 40 hours with the game and having beaten the story and done 95% of its side content, I have to say that God of War Ragnarok made me feel empty. If I'm being honest, the AAA Western gaming industry in general feels like a massive machine that is constantly unwilling to take any risks when it comes to their game design. Ragnarok not only feels less like a sequel but an expansion to the 2018 game, but I genuinely believe that Ragnarok plays it way too safe as well. Everything about this game just feels like it was focus tested and created to appeal to the most people imaginable, but at the cost of true innovation or player freedom. One of my biggest problems with the modern AAA gaming industry is how homogenized it all feels. None of these games, whether it's God of War Ragnarok, Horizon Forbidden West, any Ubisoft game ever, or Call of Duty for example, feels as if they're willing to push the medium forward in any new way. And I understand because games these days are not only expensive to buy, but really pricey to make. Not to mention they take years combined with the sacrifices of hundreds of people in order to create these experiences in the first place. But when I played through Ragnarok, it felt less like I was on an adventure and more like I was on a tour through a theme park. Like every moment I tried to explore the world the way I wanted to, I was constantly met with areas I couldn't access. Enemies who had ranks to them which barred me from overcoming them, and it felt like I was on a leash being led by developers instead of truly exploring the game the way I wanted to. When it comes to the overall structure of AAA games these days, they all feel the same to me. Icons aplenty, characters constantly talking in order to feed exposition, and you can always feel the hand of the game's developers on your shoulder because whenever you try to have your own agency as a player, your immersion is broken because you lack the right equipment or skill in order to progress. But the problem is that if you want that equipment or skill to do something, you can't just go and get it. Instead, it's given to you at certain points in the narrative when the developers choose it's time for you to have it. Every time I explored the 9 realms of Ragnarok, I was constantly presented with roadblocks. I wasn't allowed to explore how I wanted to, and ultimately once the credits on the game rolled, I felt underwhelmed, and realized that modern AAA games play it way too safe these days. There's just never any real surprises in these games anymore. I know when combat encounters are going to happen because the game's level design will conveniently open in a way to let you as the player know. You are also aware of when you're safe because the developers will strip you of your agency and force your character to walk slowly. And they even go as far as to disable your use of weapons because, like I said, you can constantly feel that sweaty hand on your shoulder gripping you at every moment. What should be an experience full of wonder and discovery quickly devolves into feeling like I'm on a leash. Like whenever I see something interesting, the developers notice and tug the collar strapped around my neck because they don't want me to do whatever it is I actually want to do. My other major problem with Ragnarok and really most AAA games is how they feel the need to present their stories like traditional movies. Your curiosity is not only punished, but your control is often taken away from you because the developers have decided it's time to transition your gaming experience from being a game to movie exposition time. And this leads to one particular game that genuinely feels like the antithesis to what Ragnarok is, and that's, surprise, Elden Ring. Earlier this year, Elden Ring took the gaming industry by storm. In fact, I would argue we haven't seen a cultural phenomenon like it in years. But the difference between Elden Ring and Ragnarok is that Elden Ring actually feels as if it gives you player agency. And in a lot of ways, Elden Ring feels like the anti-AAA modern game to me. I mean, you can skip major bosses or entire areas like Stormvale or Raya Lucaria if you want to. Hell, you don't even need to get the medallion to reach Lendel either. You can just explore and find alternative ways up instead. If Elden Ring was made by Western gaming developers, let's be honest, none of this would be even remotely possible. You would be locked off from exploring Raya Lucaria and its areas until you finish Stormvale. You wouldn't be able to go to Caelid unless the game devs decided you were ready by their own metrics. Elden Ring genuinely feels like the polar opposite to God of War Ragnarok and its many tired game design ideas. Whereas I'm constantly shut off and led by the leash in Ragnarok, I am able to freely explore Elden Ring at my own pace. It also doesn't make much sense in Ragnarok that I'm able to fight Thor early on in the story, a god of thunder who's wielding Mjolnir, a legendary weapon that is the equivalent to a nuclear bomb in Norse mythology. Yet at the same time, I can be two-shot by a random monster because my rank isn't at a level that meets that enemy. The story dissonance here makes zero sense, so you're telling me I can survive Mjolnir to my face, but a Hellwalker or Ogre can kill me instantly because it's rank 5 and I'm what, rank 3? It's just stupid. Not to mention, in a lot of these scenarios, you can't progress between rooms unless you kill all the enemies. Meaning, unless you're strong enough by these game developers' design metrics, you just can't progress. Player agency is a term a lot of AAA gaming developers like to use when discussing their games. They want you to customize your characters, give them cool attacks and nifty trinkets to wear, but they're almost always tied to some arbitrary system like ranks. Meaning nothing I do matters unless I'm a certain level to face my enemy. My smarts or skills don't matter much, and it's not like I can use my environment to my advantage, because enemies as well as you as the player feel magnetized to the floor at all times. In Elden Ring, from the moment you start playing, if you want to, you can just go to Caelid. You can go down to the Deep South and explore whatever the hell you want and just start finding stuff. I mean, sure, you might die, you may even get cursed or abducted, but the fact remains that at the very least, you have the possibility, no, the ability to actually have your own player agency. I'm so tired of these modern games being so safe and so afraid of letting me do what I want in their worlds. In Elden Ring, I can go and stumble upon unimaginable horrors in the deepest caverns because of my own curiosity. In Ragnarok, my player agency begins and ends with what runic attack or hilt I want to put on my axe. I'm never allowed to explore the world how I want until the developers say I'm allowed to. It's the same problem with Rockstar, the makers of Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption. Seriously, Nakey Jakey did a whole video about this, and they too refuse to let you interact with their missions or worlds unless they say you can. It's these tired game design mechanics that feel as if they're punishing you all the time if you even try to do things outside of how the devs want you to. You feel trapped, like you're being led along a path while your agency is constantly taken from you so you can be fed exposition. And this leads to another huge problem I have with the modern AAA gaming industry. Their games don't feel replayable. After beating God of War 2018, I have never replayed that game again. Not because its combat isn't fun, but because I know I have to sit through the same cutscenes, the same forced walking segments, and emotional movie cinematic moments all over again. Modern AAA games are not replayable because they don't offer a truly unique experience for each player. You're so trapped and guided by these experiences, and no matter what you do as a player, every one of us will fight Thor the same way in the beginning of the game. We'll all see the same death animation when we kill a dragon over and over again. We'll all have the same experience because these games are made less to be games and more to be trophy bait when award seasons show up. See, your player agency doesn't matter because they have to take away your control because the developers are more interested in showing Kratos sad in a forced cutscene. Because if they do, maybe Jeff Keighley will give them a shiny award for it. Like, there's one section in Ragnarok, relax, it's not much of a spoiler, where you're playing as Atreus and you're just collecting fruit with your friend as they just talk. And you literally just go around this forest collecting fruit as they vomit exposition at you. The Ironwood segment of Ragnarok is the epitome of what's wrong with modern AAA games these days. There's no agency, no replayability, and most importantly, no fun to be had. One of my best friends was on his third playthrough of Elden Ring and he didn't even know about bosses like Moog or Placidusax. Like, we were playing Destiny and I was like, oh yeah, you can go to the bottom of Farum Azula and fight Placidusax, and he was like, what, you can? And when he explored it and discovered an entire new region with enemies, places to explore, and new boss fights, it was this eureka moment for him. If this was modern AAA games, the developers would have tightened that leash so goddamn hard and they would have told you exactly where Moog was. Because they don't trust you to have your own free will anymore. You're just a stupid little gamer boy, girl, or whatever. You can't figure out things on your own. We gotta tell you to put the block in the hole. We gotta tell you exactly what to do. We gotta have our characters talk constantly so you can never figure out puzzles on your own. Why do you think Aloy in Horizon Forbidden West never shuts up? She's constantly talking out loud to herself. She literally says how to solve puzzles constantly. I mean, Atreus and Mimir do this too in Ragnarok. Because it's the developers openly saying that they do not trust you to figure out anything. I mean, look at this clip from Chris Raygun. Just shut up and watch it.
To the vista point. I could try to find where the image was taken. I better keep following the trail up. I think I can reach those beams if I jump against the cliff. Okay, now how to climb higher. I might be able to make the jump to the other side.
You did well. Not that I expected any less.
Just need a rib
Now,
from that fanghorn.
claim your reward.
About. Just need a rib from that fanghorn they were talking about. Just need a rib from that fanghorn they were talking about. Just need a rib from that fanghorn. Just need a rib from that. Just need a rib from. Just need a rib from. Just need a rib. Just need a rib. Just need a rib. Just need a rib. There's a charger herd. Gonna have to shoot off the horns for Della and Boomer. Should have enough charger horns for Della and Boomer now. Just need a rib from that fanghorn they were talking about.
Shut up! Shut up!
They can't just let you figure things out on your own anymore. Imagine if in Elden Ring you had Melina constantly following you around going, you don't have the right key for that. Maybe we should come back when you're stronger. Looks like we'll need to find another way up. Oh, another prayer book? We should bring that back to the round table hold and see what new spells we could learn. But they don't do it. They don't do none of that. They just give you silence. They let your brain marinate and contemplate about what to do next. They don't treat you like a toddler, and most importantly, they respect you as a player and want you to use your own agency instead. And games like God of War, The Last of Us, Horizon, whatever the hell is out there, they all praise themselves saying, look at all of our accessibility options. And I'm like, all these accessibility options, and yet none of them let me have my own goddamn agency. I mean, God of War doesn't even let you climb unless it's a specific place where the devs want you to do it. All of this rock and wall, but you can only climb where the white paint is. I mean, is this 2007? Hello, can we please move on from this? Game developers, please, if you are somehow watching this, I am begging you to stop holding our hands so much. Stop telling us everything before our brains even have a mere moment to figure them out ourselves. Look, God of War Ragnarok has really fun combat. It's enjoyable to slice dudes into ribbons and make confetti out of some poor guy's body when I explode him with the Blades of Chaos. It's fun that there's tons of stuff to find. The voice acting is good and I enjoy the way the game looks. These are not the problems here, but for the love of God, for the love of everything that exists in this mortal plane of existence that we call hell, I mean Earth, Please stop gripping our shoulders so tightly. Why do you think there's been a discussion lately surrounding Elden Ring being nominated for Best Narrative at the Game Awards this year? And people saying it shouldn't be nominated because Elden Ring apparently doesn't have a narrative. Because the people saying this nonsense can't fathom things working unless they adhere to and conform to how modern Western AAA games function. Elden Ring doesn't take control away from you every 10 minutes to feed you a scene you can't skip. It doesn't make you put your controller down to watch a damn movie when you'd rather be ripping some dudes in half. They can't fathom Elden Ring winning any of these awards because if it does, then it proves that their way of doing things, the Western gaming way, is not only outdated, but it's inferior. They're either way too safe, they take zero risks, and they all just copy one another because it's easy and convenient. Why do you think so many games have battle passes now? Because it ended up working for one game, so they all did it. God of War Ragnarok would have been a masterpiece in the eyes of the 2018 version of me. I would have praised it on my knees, screaming to the heavens about how it was the best thing to ever happen in video games. But it's 2022. I'm older, I'm jaded, I'm more cynical than ever, and I'm tired. I'm tired of these games wasting my time and energy, and I'm tired of having control taken away from me. I'm truly tired of the modern Western game design, and it's time for it to end. Please start taking more risks, try something new, and for the love of God, game developers, stop gripping our shoulders so tightly. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed my cynical and pretty scathing rant today. Look, God of War Ragnarok is not a bad game. It's far from it, but it is not a masterpiece, and it represents everything good and bad about modern AAA games in one package. At least it doesn't have any microtransactions. Well, yet anyway. Subscribe to give my life meaning, share the video if you think it deserves it, and like the video to help the channel out. Thanks to my patrons, as always, for financing the madness that is me, and I'm Endymion. I want to rant about Pokemon next, but Nintendo is annoying with copyright strikes, but I guess we'll see what I can do about that. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.